Playing Valorant already takes a lot of time, so you may want to get some quick tips to help you get better as fast as possible. So good thing you clicked on this video, because the first quick and easy tip to help you get better is to make sure you are using your minimap. A lot of players, including ones who have been playing for a while, struggle to properly use their minimap. They solely rely on their teammates and comms, and we all know how bad that is, so this is definitely holding you back. While teammates are important, you have to remember it kind of all comes down to you at the end of the day. Comms can be good, but sometimes people aren't saying everything happening, so you need to actually look at your minimap for intel. It is constantly giving you info on everything everybody is seeing, but chances are your minimap probably looks awful. It's okay, it's not your fault, it's actually Valorant's. Like, the default minimap is straight up atrocious. But don't worry too much though, because I can fix that for you too. At the end of this video, there's going to be a card that pops up that looks exactly like this. You're going to click on it, and it's not only going to tell you how to make your minimap look good, but it will also tell you all the other settings that you need to change in Valorant. But before you go there, we have our second tip. It's not going to be a setting, but it's something you should actually do for yourself, and that is going to be to play with your team. Now, I know I was just diss on your teammates, and while you are probably better than them, we still have to play with them. Everyone loves to go off on their own and try to be a hero, but at the end of the day, in a game like Valorant, your best case scenario is to move like a pack. There's strength in numbers, and these numbers make it a lot harder for you to be useless. When you're with your team, there's a lot of things you can do. First thing is it makes it easier to get kills. The enemies are not going to be as focused on not only you, but also your teammates. And not that I recommend baiting, but it does make it easier to, you know, maybe let that one teammate run in a little before you so that you can swing off them. Don't worry, I won't tell on you. You also get stronger utility when you're playing as a team, because when you combine abilities, they're much better than they were before. Let's say you throw a raise nade on site comboed with a KO flash. If you only end up throwing the nade and not the flash, it's pretty easy to get out of that situation. It's easy reposition, but with the flash in the mix, they either won't be able to see how to get out of the nade and end up dying, or they'll try to reposition but be as blind as a bat, so it should be an easy frag. It's like taking candy from a baby or pulling someone's pants down. Light work, no reaction. And you can obviously do this with other utility too. You're just going to need to put that brain to work and communicate with your team. I know it's hard, I know it's brain rotting, but it's going to have to be done. And this actually leads us into our next tip. As much as we hate our teammates, if we start talking to them more, chances are they will talk back to us. Usually this is a good thing. It'll make the game much easier. If you have more intel on enemies and information on what your team wants to happen, it will most likely make it easier for you to figure out what to do. You're just going to have to know what you're doing. Even if your team does not want to necessarily talk back to you though, it's okay, because at the end of the day, we expected them to be useless, so this is no surprise to us. But at least you're giving them solid information, which hopefully will at least help them play better, which then kind of helps you through a butterfly effect, because if your teammates are playing better, it'll just give you a better chance of winning, even if they're not helping you back. So giving that information will maybe help you win a little bit more, and hopefully they'll start talking back to you, giving you information too, making it easier for you to make plays. And if everyone's making plays, hopefully some good can happen here. So this is good for you in the grand scheme of things, even if it may be scary to talk to them. I know, Valorant comms are a very scary place. And as we get into our fourth tip, chances are if you're watching this video, you're either new to the game or you're not happy with your rank right now. This is okay, because everyone starts somewhere and it takes a good amount of time to improve. But you have to ask yourself objectively, are you the reason you're losing your gunfights? And chances are it's true. So it might be time to take a look at that sensitivity. What you can do is you can hop into the range, start by lowering it in small increments, or maybe increasing it. You can hit a little plus sign at the bottom of the screen while in the range, and it'll up it by a small decimal, or you can up it by big amounts. But I'd go by small amounts to just fine tune what you're doing. Just play around and find something that actually works for you. You may have copied someone's sense. We have to remember everyone is different. People find different things good. For example, I like pineapple on pizza. You might not. Please don't unsubscribe if you don't like pineapple on pizza, by the way. It's just, I can't help it. I was born this way. But I do have full respect for high and low sensitivities. But I personally think that low sense is better overall. And now in a few months, you may catch me on a high sense, but low sense still is better. And you can tell me that in the future. And when your sense changes, if you play bad at first, don't worry about it. You will ease into it. Just pick something that feels comfortable for you. The recommendation is that you can at least 180 with your sense. Just make sure you can do that and you're all good. And I will say that low sense is definitely something that improves most people's aim when they've been struggling for a while. Most of the time, high sense just makes you too shaky and inconsistent. It makes it hard to hit shots most of the time. And if you want a video talking about all the pros and cons of high and low sensitivities, I will definitely make it. You're just gonna have to make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see when it comes out, along with all my other banger tip videos. Speaking of banger tips, this one is a really quick one, so it's good for you, and it'll probably make you better if you haven't already started doing this. But basically, all you're gonna do is turn all of your graphic settings down to low. There's some fine tweaking you can do, but all low is generally the best for a competitive advantage in Valorant. This is for a few reasons, so let me list them off really quick. First off will be the FPS advantage. In most cases, running all low will give you the best FPS possible. It's kind of just how it works, simple computer science. You don't need a degree to know this. Save that 50k and instead maybe bet it all on black. That's a joke. I do not condone gambling on the Fyno channel. On top of that, some of the higher settings actually make it harder to see. I know it sounds crazy. Higher settings, worse visibility. How does this work? Well, basically, some of them add visual flares to the game or smooth things out. So in some cases, during gunfights, it could be much harder to see the enemy, which might be the difference between winning and losing the game. Maybe there's some flare on your screen. Maybe the enemy is too smoothed out. Who knows? You just want to avoid it as much as possible. This could be the difference between winning or losing a game, so trust me when I say this, keep all of your graphic settings on low. I know some of you out there may like to have your graphics on ultra because that's how the game looks the best, but when playing a competitive game, most of the time you're going to have to cast looks to the side for a competitive advantage. And in my personal opinion, I feel like low graphics actually have their own little charm to them, and I think they look pretty good. You know, maybe the low graphics are a little bit funnier than the ultra graphics. Maybe they have an actually good career path and not a McDonald's worker. Sometimes you just have to give the low graphics a chance. The ultra graphics, I'm sure, don't have much personality. That's just me though. Moving on to our sixth tip though, this next one's gonna take a strong mental, but I'm sure you can work your way towards it. It's probably one of the most important things that took me all the way from gold to immortal, and something I would tell everyone to do in Valorant. This is being that you need to start analyzing your deaths and stop blaming the game. While it's super easy to just say this game is horrible, say GG, rage quit, and then, you know, wait 20 minutes, hop on the game again. It's happened to us all before. No need to hide it. You still need to start taking accountability for your skill though. If you die, think to yourself, why did I die? Sure, you didn't kill the guy shooting at you, but that's a given. But did you swing without using any utility? Were you standing still in a really common angle? Maybe you swung into 5 enemies holding their barrel down a choke point. Maybe you had no intel before wide swinging. Did you forget to clear a corner and die to a camper? Could you have retreated but decided to overcommit after 1 kill? These are all things that you need to think about when you die, and there's more to it. There's almost always a reason to you dying aside from the game being trash, and realizing this will not only help you improve your rank, but improve yourself as a player and maybe even a person, because you can honestly implement this into your life. Think about what you're doing in life. Are you happy? Remember, ego is the enemy, guys. That's why I'm the best. Speaking of being happy, I'm happy to tell you that tip 7 is not as good as tip 6, but I'm going to cook something up that's pretty solid for you guys. This is an easy one to close out on, so keep your ears open. You need to drop the ugly crosshair. Please stop using shit crosshairs. You may think it's funny, you may think it's cute. I don't care. I do not want to see your punani pink crosshair on my screen anymore. I want to see some god tier aimers who stop missing their shots. Use something clean and condensed. Your crosshair shouldn't make it impossible to see the angles you're clearing or an enemy's head. Your crosshair shouldn't be moving more than a marathon runner with ADHD. Now, while I don't necessarily know what I meant by that, it should be a small and out of the way tool to help you get kills. Don't make it too small to where you can't see it though, because then you'll just be constantly losing it and will probably die because of that too, if we're being honest. But now, after I've told you all of these tips, hopefully you're able to improve pretty quickly. These are all pretty quick to implement and should see an effect almost immediately, and even then some of them may take longer for you to get used to, which is okay. With that being said, stay sexy, stay hydrated, wear your seatbelts, click one of these 2 videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.